Here it is, the official face-off. The date, September 12, Allegiant Stadium, Las.
You know, when he's fought Belenga, then fought Ryder, Munguia. It's even. I think it'd be a 50-50 fight if Crawford fought Canelo.
In the aftermath of Canelo Alvarez's sluggish but decisive victory over William Skull and his face-off with Crawford, the boxing world has shifted focus to what is now being billed as the fight of the century. The fight, promoted inside the ring moments after Alvarez's unanimous decision win, will feature two of the most talented fighters of their generation. But according to emerging talks around the pros, the fight may just not live up to the hype.
Crawford, Canelo, who you got? Crawford, Canelo? I still say Canelo.
I got Canelo too.
I still say Canelo. Ring IQ, I believe that Crawford has a bit more.
Yeah.
However, it's just the size difference. I think that where Crawford is lacking is that he should test the waters even with somebody at that weight class before facing Canelo. But hey, they say he's a dog, he's got shot in the head and drove to the hospital, so maybe that's just his mentality.
Turki Alalshik stood next to the Mexican champion and boldly said, "Now, we want to do the fight of the century. The fight in September between the two great fighters in our generation, Canelo Alvarez and Crawford. It'll be in the stadium in Las Vegas on the 12th of September. As grand as the setting may be, fans and analysts have already begun dissecting not only the potential of the matchup, but its motivation and legitimacy in terms of competitive merit. Canelo did not exactly look like a man ready to deliver a generational bout. His performance against the previously undefeated William Skull was alarmingly pedestrian. Canelo's once lethal bodywork and counter-punching ferocity were absent, replaced with occasional telegraphed punches devoid of sting. He moved slowly, threw even slower, and looked every bit his age.
Mindset, they just want to last the distance.
That's a mediocre mind. That's a mediocre mind because they come just to survive, to go to the 12th round. That's a mediocre mind. You need to put a good fight there and put great show. You know what I mean?
Do you think Crawford will employ the same tactics to try and box?
I hope not. I hope not because the people deserve a good fight.
What do you make of the Crawford fight next?
Huh?
How excited are you for the Crawford fight?
I'm excited. I'm gonna enjoy this.
Observers, including Dmitry Bivol's coach, Dmitry Kirilov, didn't hold back. In an interview with Telekomasia, Kirilov said, "I didn't see anything new. Alvarez exploded occasionally with one or two punches without combos, and they weren't accurate. That's always been his style. As he ages, he's becoming less enthusiastic. He's not working in combinations, just one or two punches, and those weren't even accurate." But Skull could have only won with a knockout. Alvarez is still a superstar. Terence Crawford will easily crush Alvarez if he keeps working the way he did today. This brings us to Crawford, undefeated and arguably in the best form of his life, but also a man about to make a 3-weight class jump to 168 pounds.
It only made sense to fight Skull so that the sole reason Crawford was moving up was to become 3-time undisputed. That puts a lot more relevance on the fight between Crawford and Canelo, right? It makes it more about legacy outside of him jumping up 2 weight classes. So
he last fought at 154. The leap to super middleweight isn't just audacious, it's virtually unheard of. And for many observers, it seems less about legacy and more about an enormous payday. The reported purse for both men is $100 million each, a massive sum that immediately raises some eyebrows. This fight wasn't born from a clamor by fans, nor from mandatory challenger status or a grudge. It was born from opportunity, and now many feel this bout is Crawford's golden parachute, a final fireworks show before he lands softly into retirement.
How much? I don't.
Because I'm looking at, say, Canelo's guaranteed 150, you guaranteed 100 million.
Damn, bud.
It's too late for me to train? I mean, that's that number. That sounds like a number that you can get down with.
Man, I don't know, man.
But I don't know, bud. 150 mil. You still gonna want to go in there and train? You still gonna want to go do another fight?
They might come with 250.
Even Crawford hasn't shied away from speaking in terms of legacy rather than future goals. "Yeah, I think I would definitely rank my resume in the top 5, Crawford said. "I'm really moving up 3 weight classes in all reality and fighting arguably one of the best Mexicans to ever fight. It's at his weight, no rehydration clause. I am just fighting the guy at his best. My body of work that I have put together, I feel like I can compete with anybody at any era. If I win this fight, it will solidify myself as an all-time great because there aren't many fighters who have done what I did. Going from 135 pounds to 168 pounds, it is crazy.
Do I have to ask about Terence Crawford? Do you think it'll add to your legacy, the fight
Yeah,
with Crawford?
he's a really good fighter. 2 times undisputed champion. He accomplished so much, so can add a lot to my career.
There's a sense of split perception surrounding this clash. On one hand, it pits 2 of boxing's most skilled operators against each other. Crawford, the undisputed welterweight champion and conqueror of Errol Spence Jr. versus Canelo, the current unified super middleweight champion who's fought and beaten elite names like Gennady Golovkin, Miguel Cotto, and Sergey Kovalev. But the legitimacy of this bout as a super fight is in question, especially given what fans have been demanding.
Let me tell you what I think should be gone. The notion that Terence Bud Crawford should move up 3 weight classes, 21 pounds, to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's entirely too small.
For years now, fans have clamored for a showdown between Canelo and David Benavidez, known as the Mexican Monster. Benavidez has bulldozed his way into position, staying active, explosive, and undefeated. Unlike Crawford, Benavidez is a natural super middleweight, younger, and poses a real physical and stylistic threat. But instead of that clash, which boxing purists and the Mexican fan base in particular had pushed for, we're getting what feels to many like a money grab.
Canelo running from Benavidez. What is that? I mean, imagine if I ever ran from anybody. Like, did I run from somebody in my career? No. Did Chavez run from somebody in his career? No. Chavez was 87-0. Imagine that. So to me, that's the all-time greatest fighter.
Julio Cesar Chavez, the Mexican icon and arguably the greatest fighter the country has produced, weighed in with a bold prediction that mirrored the sentiment of many in Alvarez's camp. It's really an uneven fight, Chavez told Fight Hub TV. Crawford is a great fighter, but Canelo is out of his league. Crawford is going for the money, and Canelo is going to knock him out. It was a striking endorsement from a legend who doesn't hand out praise lightly. But that view isn't universal. Crawford's 2023 destruction of Errol Spence Jr. put the world on notice.
You know, I'll be going for Bud. You know, if he fight Canelo, I'll be going for him. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna win or lose, but I definitely be going for Crawford. I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off.
Yeah. But no,
he's chasing greatness, so why not? Canelo came up to 175 and all that, and fought Kovalev and fought the other guy too. So I mean, if he can do it, he started at 147. So I mean, if he's doing it, why can't Crawford do it?
He's not just a technician; he's a finisher. His ability to switch stances, control distance, and adapt mid-fight has left even elite opponents looking ordinary. His confidence is sky high. Standing face-to-face with Alvarez in the ring after the skull fight, Crawford said, "In September, I'll show the world what greatness looks like."
Listen, I told my boy Jazz, I already caught the biggest fish in Texas. About to get out here and get it in. Y'all see the water. I know who the #1 fisherman is. Even big fish get caught.
Some neutral observers and even fellow fighters remain divided. Heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk initially threw his support behind Crawford, saying on the 3 Knockdown Rule podcast, "I like Terence. He's a crazy man. Terence win. Listen, Terence is a different man. Terence works on 2 sides, right and left. He's a very smart man. He feels distance and space. Canelo is a big, good boxer, but I say Terence can box him like a big guy." But later, Usyk softened his stance, telling TNT Sports he could no longer pick a side. Very hard, 50-50.
Twin over Canelo.
Well, Terence win, but listen, Terence is different man. Terence work in две стойка.
Two sides.
2 sides.
Right.
And
And
right,
switch hitter.
yes,
He's a switch hitter.
Yes. Right and left. But it's very smart man. It's very, very, very smart. But feel distance and
Oscar De La Hoya, the 6-weight world champion and Canelo's former promoter, also added his perspective in an interview with Brian Mazik. While he acknowledged that a win for Crawford could be monumental, he expressed skepticism about the likelihood of such an outcome. If Crawford can do it, Jesus Lord, I mean, give this man the title of being the greatest ever, but I just don't see it. Canelo is a big puncher. Yeah, he walks on quicksand, and that's the one thing that Crawford can use against him. But the pressure of the heavier guy, Canelo will be 200 pounds in that ring. It's a tough fight, but look, I give all the credit to Crawford. If he pulls it off, he'll be the messiah of fighters.
In the history of the sport, it just now if Crawford can do it, Jesus Lord, I mean, give this man, I mean, the title of being the greatest ever, you know? And then that's probably the motivation for Crawford. That's probably the motivation for his camp, for his, you know, for his corner, for his trainer, is that, look, if you beat Canelo, you can go down as one of the historical best fighters ever on the planet. I mean, that's enough motivation for any fighter. So
beyond the matchup itself, the business and spectacle elements are undeniable. Allegiant Stadium will be sold out. The event is backed by massive Saudi money, high-definition broadcast deals, and unprecedented promotional reach. Canelo believes it could surpass even his 2013 mega fight with Floyd Mayweather in terms of revenue and impact. For Crawford, it's the chance to become the first fighter in the four-belt era to become undisputed in 3 different weight classes. The stakes couldn't be higher for either man, one chasing history, the other protecting legacy.
They talk all the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won. He went up and lost. You know, so let's not do that, Canelo.
Yet the buzz remains strangely muted. The $100 million paydays are eye-watering, but they come with the burden of expectation, especially from fans who feel the sport is skipping over deserving contenders for the sake of legacy-chasing showcases. This fight wasn't demanded, it was offered. And while the poster may read the fight of the century, the jury is still out on whether it will be remembered as that, or simply the biggest payday of 2 illustrious careers winding down at vastly different speeds. Terence Crawford has expressed his belief that many people misunderstand Canelo Alvarez's skills. Despite Canelo's reputation as a fierce puncher, Crawford insists that his opponent's abilities extend far beyond just his knockout power.
What do you want next? It seems like that's going to be the fight. Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez, the biggest fight in boxing.
Well, Canelo's the face of boxing. He's the best fighter for Terence Crawford out there. He's the biggest fight for Terence Crawford out there. So that's why Terence Crawford want to take the opportunity to share a ring with another great.
How do you beat him?
You'll see.
In an interview on the Club Shay Shay podcast with Shannon Sharp, Crawford took the time to challenge this simplistic view of Alvarez. He argued that if a fighter possesses punching power, that power is always effective, but it may not always have the same impact on a bigger fighter as it does on a smaller one. However, Crawford emphasized that he did not need to knock out Canelo to win. He only needed to outbox him. Crawford's perspective is clear. Canelo's punching power should not be the focal point of analysis when evaluating his capabilities. Canelo's not just a puncher. I don't know why people think that. They don't know boxing, they just see him as this strong, bigger man. He's a great boxer. People are overlooking his boxing skills and assuming he's just a puncher, which is not true.
I've been beating up big dudes all my
Cause they underestimate your bud.
It's just, even if they didn't, I'm gonna beat you up. You know, I can fight.
Right.
You know, so if you watch, like, all these dudes bigger than me.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't care, but I'm gonna find a way to win, no matter what.
In September, are you gonna pull this? I shook up the world. I told you. I told you. I told you. I told you.
Crawford is seeking to set the record straight, making it clear that those who only see Canelo as a puncher are failing to recognize the full depth of his skill set. For Crawford, Canelo is not just a brute force. He is a complete fighter with many attributes that should be respected and analyzed. Crawford continued his assessment of Alvarez, explaining that he was considering every aspect of the Mexican fighter's game when preparing for their potential showdown. Canelo is not only a powerful puncher, but he is also a skilled boxer who can take punches, deliver his own counterpunch, and dictate the pace of a fight.
Crawford, with that domination, with that power, with that IQ, with that skill set, gonna be a problem for anyone. With that style, let me just reiterate that, with that style.
Crawford also highlighted Canelo's strength as a body puncher and his excellent balance. He pointed out that Alvarez is rarely out of position, a trait that demonstrates the precision and technical aspects of his boxing style. By recognizing the full spectrum of Canelo's abilities, Crawford was preparing for a much more nuanced and difficult fight than some might expect. Virgil Ortiz has made it clear that he believes Canelo will win the fight, and in his opinion, the outcome will not be close. Ortiz, who has openly stated his interest in facing Crawford if he moves back down to 154, does not mince words when discussing the upcoming clash between the two champions. In an interview with Ring Magazine, Ortiz said, "Just to keep it real, I think he's too small. Yeah, I know he just weighed in at 180 right now, but just putting on the weight and actually belonging to that weight are two different things."
Do you still want that matchup with a Terence Crawford? I don't know if he's going to come back down after Canelo Alvarez, but what about Canelo? Book Crawford, because every time he fights somebody, you beat the Mean Machine better, you beat Masvidal better. It's like you cleaning up his work. Would you fight a Terence Crawford?
I would, and I would like to. I did hear that he's gonna retire after Canelo, which it's fair. He's been a two-time undisputed champion.
Ortiz made a distinction between gaining weight for a fight and truly being able to fight effectively at a higher weight class, and he doesn't believe Crawford will be able to handle the jump to 168 pounds effectively. While Crawford may have put on some weight, Ortiz believes that it won't be enough to allow him to compete with someone as experienced and powerful as Canelo. Ortiz, while acknowledging Crawford's talent, pointed out that the fight would be a mismatch in favor of Canelo.
That I favor Canelo is that is his weight, and that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't.
He noted that Crawford gets hit during his fights, and in the case of facing Canelo, being caught clean by one of his powerful punches would not end well for anyone, regardless of who they are. I know I'm gonna get some hate for saying this. Crawford gets hit. He does. He gets hit like everybody else. Sometimes he gets hit clean. If you get him clean by Canelo, that's not good. It's really not good, whoever you are. And Canelo's fast. It's not like he's a slow puncher. He will catch you off guard. It's just different. Ortiz made a compelling argument, emphasizing the speed and power of Canelo's punches, which could be devastating for Crawford, especially if he is unable to avoid them.
I feel I got the speed over Canelo. I got the reach over him. He might got the size, the power. I got the better skills, boxing skills.
Would it be more of a cat and mouse? The reality is Canelo does put people out. From Kirkland to Amir Khan to just...
Don't do
obviously,
I'm just saying, man.
No, but he's not.
Kovalev was older. And he
Billy Joe.
does. Don't get me wrong. He does have a lot of power, but all those guys that you name is not as skillful as me. I'm sorry.
Errol Spence Jr., who recently fought Crawford in what became one of the biggest boxing matches of 2023, has a different perspective. Spence, while acknowledging the challenge that Crawford faces in moving up to 168, expressed his belief in his former opponent's abilities. When speaking to Fight Hub TV, Spence offered a succinct prediction. "I'm going for Bud." Spence explained that if Crawford was aiming to challenge himself and reach for greatness, he fully supported his decision. If Crawford wants to challenge himself to be great, then let him try to be great. So I'm with it. I'll be going for him. I don't know if he's going to win or lose, but I'll definitely be going for Crawford. This statement shows the camaraderie and respect Spence has for Crawford, even if the matchup is a difficult one for the Nebraska native.
There's no Triple G on Bud's resume. There's no Trout on Bud's resume. There's no Daniel Jacobs on Bud's resume. Canelo is the one that's fought the elite level opposition. It's Canelo that fought Laura. There is no Laura on Bud's resume. There is no Laura on Bud's resume. Bud has never faced a multiple division champ.
Spence believes in Crawford's drive to compete at the highest level and appreciates his willingness to take on a significant challenge. "I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off," Spence added, highlighting his faith in Crawford's skills and determination. While Spence was supportive of Crawford's ambition, Jaron Boots Ennis initially took a more neutral stance when discussing the Canelo versus Crawford fight. When asked about the fight in January, Ennis expressed that he couldn't pick a winner, stating that it was a 50-50 fight that fans would be excited to see. However, Ennis has since changed his prediction. In an interview with Fight Hub TV, Ennis explained that he now leans toward Canelo. His reasoning for this shift is based on the fact that Crawford's jump to 168 pounds without a warm-up fight could be detrimental to his chances.
But I think you gotta lean more towards Canelo because, like I said before, he been putting big guys out and down. And Canelo not even really a 68 pounder. He probably really should be at 60 maybe. And he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So, and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So, I don't know. It's gonna be a great fight. The fans want to see it. So, so be it.
Ennis explained that even though Crawford may have put on weight to fight at this higher class, he hasn't yet experienced fighting someone at that weight. I think you gotta lean more towards Canelo, because like I said before, he's been putting big guys out, and Canelo's not even really a 168 pounder. He probably really should be at 160 maybe, and he's been hurting these guys. Well, what do you think? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more updates.